Okay, so now here is the 5.4 booklet for those students that received 5.4 booklets. Welcome again to another instruction video from Mr. D's math class. So I'm going to be guiding you through this booklet. Okay, I mean there's some examples there. I'm hoping it's self-explanatory, but it's nice to always have some instructions to go with it with a voice. So it does start you off with a review on how to subtract integers, and if you could see here, to subtract integers without tiles, we add the opposite. Okay, and that's really the technique that we're going to be using when we do subtracting polynomials. Now the tiles are going to be a little bit different stories, so I'll demonstrate two different methods of doing tiles, but I will guide you through this booklet first. Okay, so what are they trying to tell you here as an example? Okay, if you're going to subtract -4 minus -3, well, the technique is add the opposite integer. It means add the opposite of this integer. Okay, and so that's what they're trying to show you. The opposite of -3 is +3. So when you add, okay, -4 plus 3 then will become -1. Okay, so -4 minus -3 is actually -1. And then they demonstrate it through tiles. So when you use algebra tiles to check, -4 looks like this. Okay, 4 little tiles shaded in. And when you take away 3 negatives from that, wow, this is really what demonstrates taking away 3 negatives, and only 1 remains. Okay, but another way to actually demonstrate this is what I like to do is add the opposite tiles. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate this again using another way. So let's see if you like this. First I'm going to draw the tiles for this whole thing. So here's my 4 negatives. Okay, and I'm going to minus 3 negatives, but in this case I'm not going to do what they did over here. This is called the take away or remove technique. Take away or remove technique, and not a big fan of this one, but this one at least you can know, if you know how to add the opposite, well we could change this to an add, and we can draw the opposite of these guys to this. And then if you draw the original set of tiles for -4, now you can actually go ahead and cancel out 0 pairs from this set, from that set, right? So one of these is going to cancel with one of those, one of these is going to cancel one of those, because those are all 0 pairs, and that leaves you with just one little negative. And this is what I call the add the opposite technique with the tiles, which I think is most useful, because if you're going to do that with the integers anyway, you might as well do it with the tiles as well. Okay, so but let's practice with some basic integers here. 6 minus -2. It tries to guide you here. Okay, so the opposite of -2 is +2. And so when you add the opposite, you'll end up with 6 plus +2. Okay, so this minus turns into a plus, and this becomes its opposite. And with those, 6 plus 2 then becomes +8. And so the original question, 6 minus -2, is actually equal to +8. Okay. If you really verse that out, this part, maybe you're not feeling it. Basically all I did was this. Okay, I took a 6, I turned this into an addition, I turned this into its opposite, and then I simply just 6 plus +2, which gives me 8. Okay, so that's what you're doing there. Let's try one more time. 3 minus 4. The opposite of +4 here is -4. So when you're adding this, add the opposite, then becomes 3 plus -4. And now you can look at this as 3 positive versus 4 negatives, where the negatives are going to win by 1. There is one more negative than the positives, right? So guess what? 3 minus 4 is actually equal to negative 1. Okay? You could try to the rest, I hope. I'll leave it up to you. Going into the next page, this is now subtracting polynomials with algebra tiles. Okay? So let me explain what they're doing here. I think in this case they're again demonstrating the take away technique, the take away and remove technique. Okay? So let's read through this. It reads, use algebra tiles to model 3b squared minus 2b minus 1 minus negative 2b squared minus b plus 2. And then write a subtracting sentence. Okay, fine. So what they're going to do, what they did here is they drew the tiles for this first set. Okay, 3b squared minus 2b minus 1. That's this guy right here. Okay, they brought him here and then they drew the tiles for this. So there's my 3b squared. There's my 2 negative b. And there's my negative 1. This second part of this is actually an instruction. It reads, take away these tiles from this set of tiles. Get it? Okay, so in other words, from this set of tiles, they want to take away 2 negative b squareds from here. And they want to take away 1 negative from here and then 2 positives from this. Okay, so we're gonna run into some problems here, but it's fixable according to the takeaway technique. Okay, so the problem here is you want to take away 2 negative b squares from this set, but we don't have any, and that's what they're telling you. There are no negative b squared tiles here. There is also no positive little tile to take away from here. You have a 1 negative, you can take it away, but with these squared tiles and the little ones, we're going to have a problem. So what they're going to do is they're going to add 0 pairs. Okay, so if you're missing this, then you'll have to add those 0 pairs in there. Okay, you want 2 negative squared tiles, but you're going to have to put those as 0 pairs. There's 2 negative 0 pair tiles. And so now that you have those, I'm going to jump ahead here. Now you can actually take those away. Okay, but don't worry, I'm going to demonstrate this again step by step in my own paper. Okay, so actually, why don't I just do that now? Here's the original question. Okay, so this is with tiles. 3b squared minus 2b minus 1 minus negative 2b squared minus b plus 2. Okay, so here's a simpler way actually than a booklet. I'm going to draw the tiles for this original set. Okay, so here's my 3b squared, and then I'm going to draw my 2 negative b's, and I want to draw a negative little 1. So this is my original set. This is an instruction that says, hey, take away from this set 2 negative b squareds. Take away a negative b, and then take away 2 positive. Okay? So let's start with the 2 negative b squared. They want you to take away 2 negative b squareds from here. Again, the problem is we don't have any negative b squareds. So what they do is they actually add them in as 0 pairs. And the theory behind this is that if you add 0 to anything, you're not going to change its value. Okay, let's say you have $2 and I give you nothing. I give you 0. How much do you have? Well, you're still going to have $2. I didn't change any value. But at least now we actually do have 2 negative b squares that we can take away. See this? If you don't have it, you have to add the 0 pairs in. So now to take that away, I'm going to draw the leftover tiles, the resulting tiles right away, so I don't forget. This is the result of the b squared tiles. Okay, so now next instruction, take away 1 negative b. Well, I do have, in this case, I do have a negative b to take away, so I'm just going to take that away and remove that. I do have it, so I can take it away. So I had 2 of them, but now I'm only left with 1 because I took 1 away. Okay, the little ones is going to be a problem. They want you to take away 2 positive little ones from this 1 negative little one. Well, okay, I don't have any positive little ones in this set. I can't take those away. So guess what? I have to add them as 0 pairs. Now, do you have 2 positive little ones you can take away? Yes, you do. So remove that, and now I can draw my resulting leftover tiles. And so this is actually what they were trying to demonstrate here. Okay? But they're trying to do them all at once. Okay? So you see they added the 0 pair here for the the b squared tiles, and then they took away the 2 negatives, just like I did here, you see? Okay? And then you end up with 5 of these positives. They took away a negative b, and then they took away 2 positives after they added the 0 pairs in. It's just the same thing I did here. Okay? And so what is our answer for that? Well, this is actually equal to 5b squared minus b minus 3. Okay? And I'm going to do this for you using polynomials pretty soon. Okay? So let's say you want to do this using a polynomial, just the polynomials itself. Okay? So let's do this like without the tiles. I'm going to show you another way to do these tiles, which is called add the opposite after this. Okay? So if you want to subtract polynomials like this one, guess what the technique is? Yes, add the opposite. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this set, we're going to turn this into an addition, and we're going to write the opposite of these tiles. Okay, it's always add the opposite of the second set of tiles, or pardon me, second set of polynomials. Okay, first guy always stays exactly the same. So, okay, so now this becomes an addition, and then these guys become the opposite. Instead of negative 2b squared, I'm going to put in just 2b squared, or positive 2b squared. Instead of a negative b, I'm going to put in a positive b. Instead of a plus 2, I'm going to put in negative 2. Add opposite. Okay? And now we can do what we did when we were adding polynomials. Remove brackets. I'm going to remove the brackets out of all of these. I'm just going to write them exactly the way they are inside the brackets. What is this inside the bracket? It have a positive 2b squared, a plus b, and a minus 2. And now our next step is to combine like terms. Okay. So I'm going to put my b squares together. Here's my 3b squared, starting with him. I'm going to move this positive 2b squared. Is that it? When shuffling terms, make sure you take the sign in front of it with him. Okay? Next, I'm going to do my b's. So this is minus 2b. I wrote this guy down. I'm going to move this positive b beside it. Okay? And finally, my integers, negative 1, minus 2. Okay, simply moving this negative 2 beside there. Okay, so my like terms are now together. Now I can simplify. as in just do the math with the coefficients. 3 plus 2, end up at 5 plus b squared. Negative 2 versus positive 1. Negative 2 versus positive 1. There's a positive 1 in front of here. It's invisible. Okay, so 2 negative plus 1 positive. The negatives are going to win by 1. And finally, negative 1 minus 2. These are all negatives, so we just put them together as 3 negatives. Okay, and isn't that the answer that we ended up with up here? You see? And isn't that the matching tiles that we had up here? There we go. That's how you subtract polynomials. I'm going to demonstrate this again, the tiles. Okay, let me see if let's see if you like this better. This one, I guess you could say, is method 1 with tiles. And this is the remove or take away technique. Okay, this is the remove or take away technique. Method number 2 is exactly the same as our polynomials. It guides you, it wants you to just do the opposite. Which, in my opinion, is a lot easier, less confusing, because that's what we do with polynomials anyway, so why don't we do that with the tiles also? I don't understand why not. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write the original question, which is 3b squared minus 2b minus 1 minus negative 2b squared minus b plus 2. Okay, so I'm going to draw the tiles for all of these guys, for both of them. There's my 3b squared minus 2b minus 1. Now I'm going to put a subtraction here. Here is my second set of tiles, which is 2 negative b squared negative b plus 2. Okay? Know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to turn this second set into its opposite. I'm going to turn this into an add. I'm going to draw the second set of this into its opposite. Which is add the opposite technique. Okay? And so look, now that you have this as an addition, you can actually go ahead and cancel out any 0 pairs between these two sets. The original and the new add the opposite set. Okay? So is there any b squared tiles that cancel each other out? No. They're all exactly the same. They're all unshaded, so I'm going to draw all 5 of those together. Because there's no 0 pairs to cancel with those. There's 0 pairs you can cancel with the b tiles. One of those will cancel with one of those, so you can just draw what's left over. I have one leftover negative b here. Okay. Is there any of the little tiles that you can cancel? No, you can't. There is no 0 pairs here to cancel with those. So I'm just going to draw all 3 the way they are. There's 3 negatives. And look, we ended up with exactly the same result as this set. You see? Now it's just a matter of, hey, which one is easier? I think this add the opposite is easier because we did still end up with the same answer. 5b squared minus b minus 3. Okay? Now going back to the booklet, let's keep guiding you through the booklet. Okay? Let's do one more over here. This time is just 4p plus 3, so I'm gonna do that. And if you don't mind, like, I mean, if you want to use the odd opposite technique, you can do that, okay? Never mind the remove, take away technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the tiles for both of these, for both these sets. 4p plus 3 minus 2p plus 1. And then I'm going to add the opposite. Okay, turn this into an addition and then draw the opposite of these guys. Now I'm going to cancel out 0 pairs. 2 of those, going to cancel with 2 of those. 1 of these is going to cancel with 1 of these, leaving me with, make sure you draw the remaining tiles. This is my remaining tiles. 2p plus 2. Okay, add the opposite. That's my suggestion. So what is 4p plus 3 minus 2p plus 1 equal to? It's equal to 2p plus 2. Okay? Let's try another check. Let's see if we can just do this with the polynomials. Okay? And again, they want you to do add the opposite. Okay? Okay, here we go. I don't know why they needed this extra step here for. What is this about? Okay. The opposite of 7f is negative 7f. The opposite of 5 is negative 5. So when they turn this into an add, you want to turn this into its opposite. Okay? Add the opposite, so therefore this is going to be negative 7f minus 5. Remove the brackets from everyone. And this is just, you're just going to write what's inside the bracket. Okay? I know there's an addition here, but you're not going to write that down again. You're just going to write down what's inside the brackets after you remove the brackets, like so. Okay? So when you remove the brackets, just get rid of this plus and just write what's inside the bracket. Okay? So now we combine our like terms. 8f is going to join with negative 7f. Negative 3 is going to join with negative 5. And what's our final answer here? This literally just means 8 minus 7, so that's just 1f. This is 3 negatives and 3 negatives and 5 negatives. They're all negatives, so we just put them all together as negative 8. Okay? And now comes the practice. I'll let you take on this guy yourself, okay? Add the opposite of this, okay? Remove brackets, etc. Write the subtraction sentence modeled by each set of tiles. Okay, this is the remove, take away technique. So here's the subtraction sentence they want. Subtraction sentence means something minus something equals something, okay? Well, the original polynomial is, ignore these circles and arrows for now. For the original is 1, 2, 3, 4, x. You can use x, you can use any letters really. 1, 2, 3, minus 3. And then it wants you to take away, subtract, take away 2 positive x, and it wants you to take away a negative 1. So there is your subtracting sentence. And what does that equal to? Well, we're going to draw first of all our remaining tiles here. Don't forget to do that. I know it doesn't explicitly say that, but it's always nice to draw the remaining tiles when you're subtracting algebra tiles. There's my remaining tile. So what is that? That is equal to 2x minus 2. Okay? So I hope that's enough guidance for you to be able to do this practice. This is where you're going to get most of your marks, this practice page. Okay? At least I gave you one example already, and I gave some examples on how to do some of the checks over here. And again, if it asks you to use algebra tiles again, like here, okay, you can do the add the opposite technique if you like. You don't have to do the remove, take away technique, which I in my opinion, is a little more confusing. Okay, so if you want to add the opposite tiles, you can do it that way. Okay, so I hope this helps, and again, if you have any questions, please bring it into our Google Meet classrooms on day 6 and day 4. Yes, day 6 and day 4 is at 2 p.m. Bye for now.